Hello everyone, welcome to Ajiro Tech. Ajiro Tech. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Cambridge Assessment International Education IGCSE ICT, which means Information and Communication Technology, with the course code 04117 or 0983, variant 11, paper 1 theory. Okay, and this is a paper from October November 2023 and is a 1 hour 30 minutes paper. Okay, please, the instructions are very important. Please go to the instructions because they are there to guide you, and the total mark for this paper is 80 marks. Now I have my textbook side by side where we get to explore. This right here is the latest edition of the textbook I have right here. So for every question, I just get to just make reference to the chapter it is found in the textbook. Okay, let's get to business. Question 1. A news agent has created a database which fields to store details of each newspaper and magazine he sells. Part of the database is shown. Now, this is what you will see in chapter 7 of the textbook, which is the system life cycle. Now, in the system life cycle, we have a phase called the design phase. You can also make reference to this also in chapter 18 of the textbook, known as what? Database. Okay. Tick the field name that will be most appropriate primary key for the database. Okay, so I'm just going to start here. As promised, I've made the modifications to what I was doing before, and which is writing. Okay, so I have here the candidate name is going to be Ajiro Tech. Center number is going to be AN 0117. I know most of you are happy to see this. Yes, this is a big step to my paper 1 video production. Candidate number is 2023. Okay. All right, so let's scroll down. Now, when we talk about the primary key, what is a primary key? Let's look at this. A primary key here is used to uniquely identify a record. That's what they are. Okay. Now we look at this and we can see that number 1, fields that cannot be primary key is name. Okay, and the best that can be primary key is what? Numbers. Okay, anything that's number, because you look at code. We did paper 2. It's right there on my YouTube channel, and one of in the database, one of the primary keys was the game code. So code is a good example. The reason why we use something that is unique is because there is no redundancy. Okay, there is the reason why we use the reason why it is unique is because of what? Redundancy. Very, very important. Okay, so looking at this question right now, tick the feed name that will be most appropriate key for the database. Looking at all this, okay, product number, name of publication, selling price, frequency, publisher. The only one here that I see as a primary key is the product number, because if you look at the product number, there is no repetition. You can have the same selling price, you can have the same name of publication, but you can never have the same product number. So okay, so this is going to be the answer. I'm just going to check this. Okay, so let's go. Hope that is clear. The news agent has added a field called barcode to store the barcode of the product. Okay, explain why this present check is not a suitable validation check for the barcode. We'll look at present check. Now this is also chapter 7. What is a present check? A present check What it does is to ensure that the fields are not left what empty. Okay, now I'm just going to show you where it is. It has been my culture. I'm just going to show you where you can find that right there in the textbook. Right here. Okay, scroll down and you see what I'm talking about. Under validation routines, and then you see present check. Now this checks that data has been entered into a field and it has not been what left empty. Okay, it has not been left empty. This is why it's not suitable. Okay, because if we're taking that, every barcode has to be what present. So they say we should explain why it is not a suitable. It's not the present check is it happens for every field. Okay, at default it happens for every field. So it's not really a suitable way of validating. Okay, it's not really a suitable way of validating the barcode. So let's explain why it's not. Okay, one way to look at this is not every. Now let's go up. Let's look at it. Name of publication. We have published. They said explain why the present check is not a suitable check for the barcode field. Now this news agent, okay, now they have a barcode for what? A newspaper and magazine. The reason why it is not a suitable one is because not every publication has a barcode, and that's the truth. That is the truth. Not every publication has a barcode, right? And because of that, present check will not be the best suitable validation check because present will ensure that it is not empty. So if that field is empty, it's going to ask a question. So it's just a test of knowledge because now you know what present check is. Why it's not a suitable one? Okay, because not every publication has what? A barcode. That's why it is important. Okay. Now let's look at the C part. Let's look at the C part. The news agent could use a relational database rather than a flat file database. Okay. Describe the advantage of using a relational database rather than a flat file database. This is what we'll see in chapter 18 of the textbook, databases. Okay. Now, these formats. So we have, we're going to describe 4 advantage. Now, when you look at the command word for describe, this is very important, and I'm going to show you. I think I'm just going to duplicate this, and I want to show you what I'm talking about here. Why this is very important. Now, look at this. Now, right here, you're going to see the command words. I'm just going to put them side by side, so that would explain the whole process. We'll talk about describe. We're talking about stating a point. Okay. Remember, whatever you're given has to be in bullet points. Okay, to help you through the process. You don't have to tell a lot of stories. So here I've described the advantages. Okay, there's no need for me to specify advantage or disadvantage. So let's talk about the advantage of using a relational database than a flat file. It's still the same thing. One, it uses what we call reports can be created with relational database. That is not possible with a flat file database. We'll talk about relational database. We're talking about database that are linked together. So reports can be created using tables. Okay. So that's one. Reports can be what? Created using tables. Now, when we are creating our database, the moment we create a relationship, that is when we can create a report. Until the tables are linked together, we cannot create a report. So you need to know that. Also, a good example of relational database is what? Your Microsoft Access. So this is a practical question because that makes it a whole lot easy for you if you're very good at using what relational database. Okay, again, queries. Okay, queries can be created using what? Many tables. Okay, queries can be what? Created using what? Tables. Okay, now another one is less memory is used in a computer. Unlike flash file, when you have to leave a lot of redundancies, you create one, create one, create one. With relational database, since they are linked together, it makes it of what? Less memories. Okay, so here you see that less memory are used in the computer. Okay, also it makes use of data integrity because there is no form of discrepancies or redundancies in the data. So because of data integrity simply means that that data is going to be unique. Okay, we cannot have that kind of data falling around in any other table because of relationship that has been what created. So this is very, very, very important. Okay, now another one that I feel I'm going to add here is you only have to input the data once in relational database. Okay, and that makes it saves times a lot. It saves time a lot because unlike a flash file when you be inputting data in, you can input the same data here and input that data here just so you can have them have that linkage together. But for relational, you only have to input data once into a relational database. Okay, and that saves time a lot. Okay, so that's the final one here. You only have to input the data once. Okay, which what? Which saves time. Okay, I hope this makes sense because again, what we are using here for our relational database, is what? The Microsoft Access, which is the recommended relational database for paper 2. Okay. From the data shown in the part of the database, identify the most appropriate data type for the selling price and name of publication. Remember, when we talk about data type, these are the types of data that goes into what? The field. That's what that's what data type is all about. The type of data that goes into what? The field. So let's look at selling price. Let's look at selling price. For selling price, now we have various types of data types. Okay, now in data type we have what we call numeric, and we have 4 types of numeric. Okay, so we have under the numeric, okay, we have integer, decimal or real, currency, date slash time. Now remember, when it comes to data types, when it comes to numeric, you have to specify what type of numeric. You can't just say numeric, you have to specify what type of what? Numeric. This is very, very important. So we are looking at selling price. So let's go ahead. Again, I promise you guys I'm going to explain every concept here, not just solving past paper. So for selling price, we have it as what? Numeric what? Let's see, selling price. So now we have what? Now, the first one you think of is what? Decimal. But take note, there is what? A currency. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's go. Now, when it comes to currency, you see right here, look at it. Okay, when it comes to currency, this can be this. Okay, so the currency, when there's no currency, it becomes decimal. But the moment there's the currency overrides the decimal. Please take note of this. Do you understand? All right. So this is why we're using currency, because of the currency what? Symbol. So this is going to be what? Numeric what? Currency. Name of publication. Let's look at name of publication. Name of publication, data type becomes what? Text. Okay, becomes text. Text. It can also be alphanumeric. Okay, can also be alphanumeric. Okay, so that's important. Let's check here. You see that here for alphanumeric, this type of data can store characters, which is data or text, and numeric data. Okay, so name of publication, I will just go for text. Okay, because then again, alphanumeric is best suited when you have what? Names and what? Numbers. But for your text, there are strings of what? Letters. Okay, or other symbols that are also included. So I'm just going to choose text. Okay, text. All right, question 2. It started off with chapter 7. Wow. State the most appropriate word or phrase to complete each sentence. State the most appropriate word or phrase to complete each sentence. The type of data output from a sensor is what? Now the output you get, remember sensor is what? Input. Okay, this is chapter 1. This is chapter 2, input and output devices. Now under sensor is what? An input devices. Now what the sensor does essentially is to gather data and send them to the computer. Now from a sensor, once it is sent to the computer, it becomes what? Digital, right? Because we have digital and analog, it becomes what? Digital. And that simply means that is what the computer understands. But when it's coming out, this is possible with what we call ADC. Okay, we have what we call the ADC, which is what? The analog digital what? Converter. So for the output from a sensor, what is going out from the computer is what? Analog. Okay, analog. The type of data read by a microprocessor, what is being read by the computer is what? Digital, which is what? Numbers. Okay, the type of hardware that converts data from a sensor so a microprocessor can read it is what? I said it here already. Okay, so the hardware that can convert data from a sensor so a microprocessor can read, so the computer can be able to read it, is what we call the analog to digital what? Converter. Analog to what? Digital. Converter. You're going to see this in chapter 2 of the textbook. Okay, you're going to see this right here in chapter 2 of what? The textbook, which is what? Your analog, your sensor. Okay, right there, your sensor. You're going to see it. All right, so let me show you in the textbook. You're going to see here, chapter 2. This chapter 3. This output. I promise you guys I'll be showing you where each question is found in the textbook, so that guys see when you're reading the yes. So you can see that, right? The information from the sensor needs to be converted. This is done using what? Analog to what? Digital what? Converter. So you can see that a sensor is a device that inputs data to a computer. This data is the measurement of some physical quantity that is continuously what? Changing. Okay, and making reference to chapter 1 under types and components of the computer system, you're going to see what we call digital and analog what? Data. Right here. These two are so linked. Let me look at it. See right here. Okay, this is right here. Look at it. Okay, analog and digital what? Data. Now you're going to see that, look at it. They said if data is being sent to computer, it must first be converted to what? Digital, which is what? Input. Okay, this is the hardware known as analog to digital what? Converter. Okay, so if a device contains a device such as a motor, then the digital output from the computer needs to be converted into what? Analog form. That's where you got it. That's where the question is coming from. Into what? Analog what? Form. Okay? And of course, this is done by what? The digital to analog what? Converter. This is input, this is output. Okay. Let's look at the D part. The type of sensor that is used in the refrigerator. Now we have various kinds of sensor. We have the light sensor, we have the pressure sensor right here. Okay. We have a pH sensor, humidity sensor. Now let's look at it. The one that is used for what? Refrigerator is going to be what? When we talk about refrigerator, what are we talking about? Temperature. Okay. Remember, what kind of sensor is used in your AC? Temperature. Because if the temperature is, if it's cold, right, it makes your drinks to be what? To be chill. That's the whole essence. So the sensor that is used there is what? Temperature. You can't use pH, you can't use temperature. Okay. So what? The temperature. Okay. I hope you're understanding this. A group of students are carrying out a study of the quality of river water for a project. They can either use a tablet or a smartphone to monitor and record their findings. Now, they said what? Discuss the advantages of using a tablet computer rather than what? A smartphone for this project. This is chapter 1, types and component of the computer system. Under it, we look at what? Types of what? Mobile computers. We have 4 types of mobile computers. We have laptops, we have tablets, we have a smartphone, a phablet, we have our smartphones. So let's look at how many marks this is. It's 6 marks. Let me reduce this so I can just write everything here. I want to reduce it so I can just, okay, or using a tablet rather than what? A smartphone. Now we're going to see this here. I think I have it here. Types okay, sitting here, types of what? Mobile computers. Now look at it. Let's look at tablets. Now here we have what? Tablets. Now we'll talk about tablet. They're increasing way what? That use the type of what? Computer, right? They have virtual keyboards. So let's talk about the advantage of tablets compared to laptop. In this case here, you're having your tablets here, comparing them to what? Your smartphone. Okay, so when we look at this for our tablet computers, okay, now for tablets, they are both portable, so that is not even an advantage because that's a comparison. But between your tablet and your smartphone, which is easier to connect devices on? You can connect a printer to your tablet. Okay, so it's easier For the tablet computers, okay, it is easier. So I'm going to start off with an advantage here. Advantage. Okay, so here is what is easier. Okay, it's easier to what? To connect, right, devices to a tablet. That's the first one. Okay. The second one is in terms of the screen. Look at it. In terms of the screen, okay, I'm just going to show you. Look at it. Now, in terms of the screen, this is a smartphone, not a phablet. This is a smartphone. Okay, because most of you are thinking about your phone. This is a phablet. A phablet has more inches or more screen size than what the smartphone. In terms of the tablet, it has more what larger screen what than what the smartphone. Okay, to make your findings, because remember this is a project that is being carried on. Okay, it's a project to record what their findings, and because of that they have what a larger screen. So larger screen, okay, larger screen to record your findings. Whatever you are saying has to be in relation to what the question. Okay, so to record your findings, okay, they also have a larger screen to see the findings. And now we will look at okay, this is 6 months. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. In terms of softwares, you have more softwares for the tablets than that of what the smartphone. Okay, so I can have suitable softwares. Okay, suitable softwares for what? For tablets. All right, so let's look at disadvantages. Disadvantage. Okay, let's look at disadvantage. Now for disadvantage, which is more portable? Smartphones are more portable. Okay, it's easier to just like put it in your pocket. Okay, smartphones are what? More portable. Okay, and can be easily carried around. Okay, in your pocket, in a pocket. Because if you don't specify this, tablet can be easily carried around too. But I can put it in my pocket and you don't even know I have a phone. Okay, and let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest. Let's go back to the question and let's be real with ourselves. A group of students are carrying out a study of the quality of river water for a project. Which is more easy for a student to carry around, a tablet or a smartphone? I want you to pause this video and then tell me. Okay, so smartphone. Every student has a smartphone. Not every student has a tablet. That is the truth. Okay, if you have a tablet, let me know in the comment section. Okay, all right. Okay, but really, okay, but it's easier really for students to have smartphones with them. Okay, okay, so students are more likely are more likely to have smartphones. Okay, smartphone with them. I know it's 6 marks, but then again, this is a production video where we look at it. Okay, so this 6 marks. Okay, so I think that's fine. In terms of camera, now I'm just going to use the iPhone. Okay, but even the Android, the Google Pixels and other Androids, um, smartphones, we have good quality cameras. Okay, but we're talking about iPhone and iPad. Okay, if we're going to use cameras to capture some findings, okay, it's easier with a smartphone than with a tablet. That is a fact. Okay, so you can put that right there. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, identify two devices that can be used by the students to enter data. What are the devices? Okay, either in the smartphone or in the tablet. What are those devices? The first one I have is what? Camera. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Camera. Because for me as a teacher back there as a student, I go my phone to everywhere and I capture a lot of things. So camera is easier for me. Okay, both of them make use of touch screen. Okay, so touch screen, one device to use to enter what? Data. Okay, you can also add, if you want to add from the three, microphone. Okay, I think the microphone, and they also have a virtual keyboard. Okay, so yeah, so others. Okay, so we have three here. um, Microphone. Okay, we have the virtual keyboard. Sorry. Let me know if this method of me writing is better than the other um, theoretical ones that I've been doing in the comment section. All right. Okay, let's go ahead. Question 4. A head teacher is considering setting up a card system for students to buy food in the school canteen. The head teacher is trying to decide whether to install a system that uses magnetic stripe card or one that uses chip and pin card readers. You're going to see this in chapter 2 where we talk about direct data entry, and there we're looking at card readers, under the types of card readers. Compare the use of magnetic stripe readers with the use of chip and pin reader. Your answer must include similarities and differences. So let's look at it. Let's look at the similarities. So this is what? Chapter 2. Okay, so this is chapter 2. Question is coming from chapter 2. And yeah, I think we can do that. Let me show you. Here, right here, under card readers, we have the magnetic stripe. Okay, and there are faster entries. Okay, error free, prevent access to. You just have to swipe in. That's and the information I found in the back. But for the chip and pin, they are your ATM. A good example is your normal. They are both ATM cards. The other, this one is what? Your ATM card. Okay, where you have to type in your pin. Okay, where you have to type in what? Your pin to make a transaction. Okay, so similarities, both of them they use what? Direct what? Contact with the card. There's always going to be a direct contact. You have to either swipe in or slot it in. Okay, so that's the first one. Both. So we're talking about the readers. Okay, both readers. Now the readers are the ones that are used to read these cards. So both readers are in direct contact with the card. I think I can do this. It's looking small. Yes. Okay. Another one is both are what? Input devices. Both are what? Input devices. Okay. And I think that's, how many marks is this? 6. Okay. So I'm just going to work with 2 assimilarities. That's what I have. If you know more, you can just let me know in the comment section. Okay. Let's look at differences. Now for differences, okay, the chip and pin is more secure because the pin is what needed. Okay. The chip and pin is what more secure as a pin is needed for transactions. Okay. Also, the chip and pin reader prompts the user to enter a pin. So, because once you slot in your card, it's going to ask you for a pin. So, you have to put your pin. So, again, the chip and pin is more secure because a pin is needed for transactions and it will prompt you to put a pin. Okay. The chip and pin reader, the pin and chip reader, obviously, for you to be able to carry out the transaction successfully, the user needs to know the pin. Okay, so in the pin and chip reader, okay, in the chip and pin reader, okay, the user what needs to what know the pin, because if you don't know the pin, now in my school where I work, right, where I work, okay, the students, they buy talk and they have their cards. So if they slot in their card into the reader and they don't know their pin, they can't buy anything. Okay, so why it is secure as a pin is there for transaction and it prompts the user to enter a pin, the user will need to know the pin for the transaction to actually what take place. Okay, now for magnetic stripe, it can be used by anyone. Okay, in the magnetic stripe reader, let's talk about magnetic stripe. Now, what is the reader? The reader is the one that is used to read the pin, that is used to read the cards. Do you understand? Now we have, let's see, let me show you what I'm talking about. Now this is the reader here, okay, that is used to read this. Now this is for contactless, I know, but again, for the magnetic stripe, this is a reader that is used to what to read this card. So what we are talking about now is what we're talking about: the reader and also the card. They said compare the use of what the magnetic stripe readers and the chip and pin readers. We're talking about those that you use to read the card, but you can also talk about the card because again, why the readers for chip and pin, like I said, is more secure. You need it is going to prompt you of your pin PIN is needed for transactions, and of course the user needs to know their PIN. Okay, for the magnetic stripe card readers, okay, for the magnetic stripe card readers, the card, okay, can be used by anyone. I can just take your card and I'll just swipe in. Okay, can be used, okay, can be used by anyone, as no PIN is needed. Again, for the magnetic, the transaction is faster when you're using the magnetic stripe reader, because you're just swiping in. So what the transaction is faster. It also have less data errors, data entry errors. Okay, less data entry errors. Look at it, faster than, rather than key in with the keyboard, is faster. Okay, and is error free. So there's less data entry because no typing is involved. You just swipe in. Okay, no typing is involved because you just swipe in. So these points are good. Right here, this point here is good. This is also good. Okay, all right. For others, it can be the transaction in magnetic stripe. In magnetic stripe readers, the transactions are faster because there's no manual input. Okay. Question 5. A bridge and a router examples of networking device. We're going to see this in chapter 4. Okay, which is networks and the effect of using them. Explain the difference between a bridge and a router. Okay, so let's look at this. This is 2 marks. So one for bridge, one for router. What the bridge does is to combine multiple LANs, right, and make it as one local area network. While a router, what the router does is to send that that local area network to an external network where you have your internet. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. Chapter 4. Look at it right here. Yes, this is the bridge. So what the bridge does, a device that connects multiple LANs, right? Connect multiple LANs to another LAN using the same protocol. Okay, using the same protocol. They also use to connect different parts of a LAN to act as one single LAN. So that's 2 points there. Okay. Now for the router, what the router does is to route any data packet. What are data packets? Data packets are those information that is sent, right, in doing over the network, and they are splitted into various bits, and of course they are being assembled at the end of the day, okay, to its destination. So what the router does now is to route that data network from one network to another. Now in this case, is routing it from this network to an external network, and a good example of that external network is your internet. Do you understand? So that's what it does. So a bridge, okay, so let's look at the bridge. So a bridge, I'm just going to write this here for bridge. Right? A device that connects one LAN to another. Bridge is a device that connects one LAN. This LAN means what? Local area network. Okay, local area network. Okay, and what does it do? It connects one LAN to what? To another LAN, to another LAN using the same what? Protocol. Okay, why a router what routes data packet, or let's not use the same word route, allow data packet to be sent from one network to another what network. Routers are used to join LAN to the internet, so we can just use that. Allows data packet to be sent from one network to another what network. So in this case, you have it as what? Your internet. Okay, so it connects what? A One way to put it is that this connects what? It allows you to what? To join to what? To the internet. It allows you to join a LAN to the internet. That's what it is, right? So it allows you to join a LAN to what? The internet. So for others, let's look at others. For a bridge joins or connects right here right connects together or connects different part of the LAN, so they function as what? Different, or function as a single LAN. So look at it. So a bridge connects multiple LAN to function as what? A single LAN. While a router, right, connects a LAN to a WAN. And in this case, this becomes what? Your internet. Your WAN is what? Your wireless area network, and your LAN is what? Your local area network. Please write this in full. Okay. All right. So hope that makes sense. Now, IP addresses are used in computer networks. This is still chapter 4. Explain what is meant by what? IP address. The first thing that you do in questions like this is, what's an IP address? An IP address is what? Internet what? Protocol. That's the first one. Two, let's look at it. It's right here at the top. Now for your internet protocol, what? They connect, whenever a computer is connected to the internet, it is given what? A unique address. In this case, what this is given by what? The internet what? Protocol address. That's why an address is being given to you. Now, please take note. Whenever you connect to a network, right, you're being given what? An address. So invariably, an IP address essentially what? Identifies the location of a device on a network. So what? They are unique identifiers. So, and again, they what identify the location of a device on, that's what it is. So they identify the location of a device on a network. Again, they are also unique identifiers because for every network you connect to, you are given a unique address. Again, an IP address must be different for each device on a network. Must be different. Okay, they must be different. And all devices connected to the internet must have an IP address. For others, let's see, for others, okay. Now, if you take your laptop to a coffee shop, you log into your computer to the internet again, it will assign a new IP address, unlike the MAC that remains what? Constant. Okay. So again, it determines, we've talked about the location of the device on the network, and again, it must be different. I think the last one will be IP addresses assigned to devices on the network must be different. I apologize if the video is taking too long. The whole idea is to explain the whole concept to you. Explain the purpose of a routing table. This is also chapter 4, talking about the router. The router has what? A routing what? Table. Now, for the routing table, what it does is, one, the first thing that comes to mind is it stores the IP address. The IP what? Addresses. That is what the routing table does, right? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is a MAC address or a lookup table. A MAC address has their what? Their own what? For the switch, have their own what? Address. This is the address of the devices that are connected. Now, for the router, I want to show you where I'm talking about. I think I saw them. I saw it somewhere here. I saw it somewhere here. Now, a routing table is used to direct data packet to what? To correct device. That's what the routing table is used for. Is used to what? To route the data packet to what? To what? To correct what? Devices. I think I saw that somewhere here. I want to show you where you find it. Okay. Okay, look at it. Now, if you read this, you also they say when the data packet is at one of its ports, the router inspects the IP address and determines whether the data packet is meant for its own network or another external network. If the data packet is meant for its own network, then data packet is routed to a local switch or hub. Otherwise, the data packet is transmitted to a different router. Please take note of this. Okay, take note of this important information here. The routing table or the modern broadband router actually combines the function of a router and a switch. This means that it will store your MAC address and IP address to enable data packet to be sent to the correct network and then to the correct device on the network. This is why, right, why it stores the IP address, it also what routes the data packet to what the correct what device. So the routing table routes right here, okay, direct data packet what direct the data packet to what correct device. For others, we've talked about routing information. It is also used to determine where data packet will be directed, and we've all said the same thing. So it stores the MAC address as well. We've come to see that, and the IP address. Okay. Question 6. A cricket club secretary saves a list of players as a PDF file. We're going to see this in chapter 11 under file management, and it's part of what? An image file. A cricket club secretary saves a list of players as a what? A PDF what? File. Describe two advantages of saving the list of players as a PDF file. So let's look at this. Let's go to chapter 11. So this is what? Chapter 11. Chapter 11. Let's look at it. Now under file management, I want to show you the types of it. Yes, PDF. Look at it. PDF is what? Type of generic image files. Now what is PDF? This is a document that will be converted into an image format. It allows document to be seen as an image so that it can be read on most computers. In fact, it allows information to be read on most computers, right? And it looks at the way it's going to be what? Printed. They can contain clickable links, buttons, feed form, etc., etc. You can put a document to stop others from what? Editing it. That's the whole idea from PDF. So what are the advantages? Okay. Now, disadvantages you have here is that PDFs are read-only, portable document format. And we've looked at it. They say what? In the PDF format, you can protect a document to stop others from what? Editing what? It. So they are what? Read-only. So it makes it more difficult to what? To edit, right? The list of what? Players. So the disadvantage of saving the list as more difficult to edit. Okay. And again, you need a PDF reader. Okay. You need a PDF software, editor to edit information. Others, you also need a PDF viewer, a PDF software to view the information. Okay. The cricket club has a junior team for 6 to 8 years players. The secretary has produced an e-publication to attract new members to join the team. Now, you're going to see this in chapter 6 of the textbook. Chapter 6, which is what ICT application. Under ICT application, we have what we call what? Communication. Under the application, you have what? Communication. I'm just showing where you can use it for your studies. Communication. Now, they said state two features of an e-publication. When we talk about e-publication, is what? Electronic publication. We have various kinds of what? Publication. We have e-newspapers, e-magazines, e-libraries, e-books. Those are the 4 types of e-publications that we have. Okay. Now, two features that will not appear on a paper roster, on a paper poster. What will not appear on it? Now, we have videos. For an e-publication, two features is what? Video. Okay. Audio. Others, okay, you have what? Hyperlinks. Okay, hyperlinks, clickable hyperlinks. Okay, clickable hyperlinks. Okay, for others, number 3, you have text to speech. Yes, text to speech. When it gets to read it to you, speechify. I use speechify. You have animations. Okay, we have interactive, clickable hyperlinks. That's clickable hyperlinks. Hyperlinks. Okay, and you can change it to different languages. Okay, it's possible. All right, let's look at the C part. Describe the feature that can be used to make the e-publication attractive to young audience. Now, this is bringing us to chapter 9 of the textbook, where we talk about what? Audiences. Yes, audiences. Okay, let's talk about audiences. Audiences, that's chapter 9. Audiences, and here we have to younger children. Let's look at it for audiences to younger children. Look at it right here. Okay, we have what? To what? Young children. So what are we using? Bright colors, animations, more pictures than text, large font and simple short words right here. Include games where possible. Okay, so what are the features? What's the total mark for this question? This is 6 marks. Describe the feature that could be used to be attractive. That's a whole lot of marks. So let's see how we can do this. Okay, so 1, let's start putting down our thoughts. We have bright colors. Okay, we have videos. We have more pictures than text. Okay, again, we have let's see what else. Sound. We have animations. Let's add animation. You can put them differently. Animations. We have sounds. Okay, okay, large Text fonts, that's also important. There are children. Text fonts. And the whole essence for this is so it is easier to read. Okay. So this is, how many is this? 6. Okay. Others. Let's look at others. Let's look at others. What are others here? Remember, we looked at this. Include games where possible. So game for content can be used. I think there are some things we have not also talked about. Large fonts, more picture animation, cheerful colors. Okay. Can be easy to use interface. Okay. Voice interface, that sound. But you can also what? Separate it. Okay. Question 7. An employee in a company has used QRT QWERTY123 as his login password for some time. Give 3 reasons why this is not advisable. Now, we are going to see this when it comes to passwords, strong passwords. We're going to see this as in chapter 8 of the textbook. Okay, chapter 8 of the textbook. Let's look at it. I want to be sure. Chapter 8 of the textbook. Yes, IDs and password. Yes. Now, passwords are used to restrict data, okay, or system. They can be hard to break and change frequently. They should be hard to break and change frequently to restrain any level of what security. Now, passwords are frequently used to do this or whatever. So why do we have to change our passwords? Okay, why is it not advisable to use it for a long time? One, looking at this password, it is not strong. Okay, so one of them is it is easy to guess. There's no what makes a strong password. Look at it. One capital letter, one numerical value, one keyboard character. Okay, at least. So here you're having all caps, no small letters, no special characters. So it's easy to guess. It's easy to guess, and people can shoot us off, right? So it's easy to shoot us off. What we mean by shoot us off is people can just um, look at what you're typing and they can just get it. Okay. Um, the password is not strong. It is not a strong password. So this is chapter 8 of the textbook. Okay. Complete the sentence using the most appropriate data. Complete the sentence using the most appropriate data protection method from the list. Your answer must be different in each case. So let's do this. This is also chapter 8. A method which scrambles the data so that it cannot be understood is encryption. As the first one, encryption. A fingerprint is an example of biometrics. Okay, we have a method of guaranteeing a website is authentic is a digital certificate. You see this in chapter You see some in chapter, digital certificate is chapter, I want to be sure, digital certificate is chapter 10 of the textbook. Okay, yes, digital certificate, encryption is chapter 8, but digital certificate is, okay, oh yeah, chapter 8, still all of them are chapter 8, but I think you also see some too in chapter 10, okay, but yes, it's chapter 8, okay, chapter 8, let's see the last one. A device that filters the information coming through the internet connection into a LAN, a firewall. Let's see, a firewall. These are your objective in IGCSE ICT. Okay, subjective. An employee in the company uses his company password for other account. Explain why this is not a good idea. I have just one for you. Okay, if someone finds the password, okay, other accounts are automatically compromised. Okay, if someone finds the password, okay, for his company account, then other accounts are compromised. Okay, so it means that they gain access to those accounts. Okay, so that's why it's not a good idea. This chapter 8 as well. Microprocessor control devices are used in a home. This is chapter 5. The effect of using IT. Describe with examples how using these devices can affect the health and fitness of their users. This is for what? Social interaction. So let's look at it. So describe with examples. Describe that you state the point, and then with examples how using this device can affect. How many marks is this? 6 marks. So take note of this. You have describe with examples. So let's describe. The first point is when the device does all the work. Okay. Now, what is the example? Okay. What is the example? How using this device can affect the health and fitness. Okay. So the example here becomes it makes the user what? Lazy. Okay. It makes the what user what? Lazy. Okay. Now look at it. You see this here in chapter 5. Okay, chapter 5. Yes, chapter. Yes. Now you see here. Scroll up. Now this for transport. If you scroll up here, you're going to see. If you scroll up here, you're going to see now general. Look at it. Computer control labor saving devices. People can no longer do manual tasks, right? Therefore, it's part to control even automatic machines. For example, your smartphone. They tend to make people what? Lazy. Okay, so that's the first point. So that's two already. Then another one is how it can affect their health and physical fitness. Okay, so another one is the user does not need to be what? Present when the device is working. You see that people can just right from their office know who is in the house or is knocking at the door, because we have microprocessor control devices where they can just use their smartphones to be able to see who their house with CCTV cameras. Okay, so what's the example here? Okay, so describe with examples. So when these are when device does all the work, and this is okay, I'm coming. So this is the example. This is the example here with points, and this is where it gets to affect them. Okay, example here. So let's look at this. Okay, now another one is an example. So how would this, if you don't be present when the device is working, how would this affect their health or fitness of their user? Okay, it gives the user, it could be more slash less exercise. They have time to do other things. Let's look at another example here. When you're using computers, okay, it could be machine devices for too long, because then again you're there with your phone connecting and connecting for too long. What can this cause? So it can cause what? Can cause a what? A health issue. And when you're looking at a computer for too long, an example could be an eye strain. Yeah, an eye strain. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3. So 1, 1. How? So this is 1 here, 2. So this is 6 months. Okay. Users are not doing much manual tasks anymore, and it can also cause a health risk, because not just being lazy, it could impact their health because of lack of exercises as well. Okay. Question 9. Rowena laptop Rowena, please don't laugh. I know you're laughing. Okay, fine. Rowena, right? Laptop computer contains a small capacity solid state drive. This is chapter 3, storage devices. Chapter 3, storage devices and media. Okay, contains a small solid state drive of 32 gig and a large capacity hard disk drive of 1024 gigabytes. State given reasons for your choice. A use for the SSD and a use for the HDD in laptop computer. Your answer must be different in each case. Okay, so for this right here, a use for the SSD. So this SSD, okay. Now to store the operating, for the SSD, it could be to store the operating system. Okay, it could be stored to store the operating system. For SSDs to store, okay, or even to store games. I prefer games, to store games, because it's faster with SSD. Okay. State giving a reason for your choice to store games. So that's the first point. Okay. My first point. Now, reason for my choice of answer is this, is the game runs faster. Games, newer laptop, gaming laptops, the games run faster on SSD. Okay. For HDD, it will be to store files. Let me see. SSD is 32 gig. Okay, SSD is 32 gigs. If I have an SSD of 32 gig to store games, yeah, I can store a game real good with 32 gig and it's going to work well just for the game. Now, because HDD has more memory capacity, is to store files. Okay, to store files. Okay, to store files. Now, example could be movies. Yes, I know you guys love movies. Okay, movies. Okay, so what's the reason of my choice? Reason of my choice is it can store what? Larger files. It can store larger files. Okay. The laptop computer also contains internal memory. Give two examples of internal memory. So I have the random access memory, read only memory. This is chapter 1 of the textbook. Okay, chapter 1 of the textbook. A teacher has set up a database for a class library. The data about the books in the class library will be entered by the user. Okay. The data can be verified by double entry or visual verification. Now, you will see this in chapter 7. Okay, when not, you will see this in proofing. Proofing is, I think 12 is images, 13 is layout, styles, layout, 15, chapter 15 of the textbook. Chapter 15, proofing. I want to be sure. Chapter 16 is chart and graph. Okay, let's see. Table of content. Layout, styles, proofing. You have spell check. You have the validation routines here, and then you have your proofing technique, verification. So verification is a way of preventing errors when data is copied from one medium to another. Okay, that's verification. Visual verification is what we call visual check. You're checking for data entry errors by comparing the original tax document with the one that's been entered. Double entry is when data is entered into the system twice. The two set of data are then compared by the computer to see if there's a difference, okay? And then if there is, it is flagged as an error. So they said what? Let's look at how many marks is it? 4 marks. Compare data, double data entry with visual verification. Your answer must include similarities and differences. So let's look at similarities between double data entry and visual check. Similarities. So for similarities, both are used to check the data. Okay, both are used to check the data. Okay, to check the data has been entered correctly. Okay. Again, both, notice, for double data entry, both data are entered and then compared. Visual check, you're comparing with the original document with the one entered. So both are used to check the data against the what? Original one. Both again are used are used okay, both ensure, okay, that's the right way, both ensures the data have been transferred correctly. Let's look at differences. So I have just one difference. Okay. For my differences, now this is how we do it here. For difference, we talk about visual check, right? So in visual verification, data is compared with the what? Original data. Let me see. Original what? Original, with the original document. Let me, with the original document. That's fine. If you want to add others, so we don't just leave for double entry, in the double entry, data is compared with the, let me clean this, that is compared with the previous data. Okay, with the previous data. Okay, now let's look at this. 10b, when data is entered into a date field, it is validated. An example of the data that could be entered is this. This is DD MM Y. And you see this in chapter 7. Okay, system development life cycle, and you see it in the design phase. Okay. Hope you guys are having fun with me right now. All right, design phase. Okay. So they said state of Ajiro Tech that we use on this data. One is the format check, okay, to say ensure it is in the same format, okay, and then the next one is the type, okay, type or what, character what, check, simple, okay. Okay, question 11. Many automatic teller machines allow customers to print out mini statements of their bank account. Describe the input and processing involving in printing out a mini statement. We're going to see this in chapter 6. Chapter 6, ICT application. And we are looking at the banking system. So, how many marks is this? So this should be very easy because this is a practical course. So the first thing you do, okay, they said describe the input and processing involved. Let's start with the input. The input is, what's the input? You insert your ATM card. This is a practical and it's there in the textbook. Insert the ATM card, okay. What happens? The system reads, okay, the system is going to what? Read is going to what? Read the details on the card. Okay. Now you can enter language. Enter your preferred language. Enter your PIN. Okay. Select your print, which is in this case your mini statement. Okay, option, select the account. What do I mean account? Is it savings or current? Okay, and then select confirm. So what's the processing that takes place here? One is going to check if the card is valid. Two is going to check if the PIN is correct. Three is going to check if the current account was selected. So this is just a summary. In other words, it checks the card to see if it's valid. It checks to see if the account number is correct. It checks to see if the PIN is correct. And if the PIN is not correct, what happens after making 3 tries? The card is restrained. It checks to see if the account number is correct. Select the account number selected is correct. Okay, if it's correct, it sends a signal to the bank. The bank can now create the statement. Okay, and then details of the amount of the account is then sent to what? The ATM. And then details is sent to the printer, and then you can now print it out. That's how it works. Okay, so that's important. A student has produced some work for a school project. A page of the work is shown. Okay, now look at this work. This is chapter 17, document production. So let's look at it. A study of the English lullaby. Let's look at this. All right. So the student has placed a column break in his project. Okay, a column break in his project. Explain the purpose of setting a column break. Let's explain the purpose of setting a column break. All right. Now, the purpose of setting a column break is one. It could remove windows and orphans. Okay, it could remove windows / orphans. Okay, another one is the reason why let's go back to this. So this removes windows and orphans. That's what we do, column break. Another one is it places a hard break. It places a hard break in the what? Location selected. So invariably, you are given a structure of how the document is going to look like. Okay, so it keeps going and going and going and going, and that becomes a structure for you. Let's look at the other part. After running a spell check and proofreading his document, the student noticed that one word is still showing an error. Explain why this word has caused an error and how the student ensures that the error does not appear when the word is used in future. Okay? Explain why this word has caused an error. So, one, okay, the word does not appear in the dictionary. I know a good example is a gyro. Now, if you type a gyro in your Word document, it's going to give you a red line. It doesn't recognize a gyro. It's true. Okay, now you're laughing. It's fine. But it doesn't. You have to add it to your dictionary. So whenever you type a gyro, it doesn't show that. Okay? And of course, it doesn't appear. And two, the word is written in Latin. Latin means other languages. Okay? And the dictionary is in English. Now, this is for others. Okay? This is for others. Now, we have explained why the word has caused an error. Now, and here we have to say how the student ensures that the error does not appear when the word is used in the future. So what is it going to do? What it's going to do here, okay, is to add that word to dictionary. Okay, add the word to what? The dictionary. Okay, for others, it could be ignore. You could set the dictionary to ignore the word. Okay, you could set the dictionary to what? To ignore the word. So this brings us to the end of this paper. Okay, so please go through it, watch this video over and over again, and please, if you have any question, please always send your question in the comment section, and I'll be there to attempt it for you, okay, and explain more further if this is really not clear for you. Thank you very much. This is also after a spell check and notice an error. This is also for proofing. This is also for chapter 15. You see this in chapter 15. This is chapter 15, proofing. So just in case, okay, chapter 15. I think I've explained every question and every chapter where they are being found. Okay, so this is chapter 1. This is chapter 2 of the textbook and also chapter 1 for question 2. Let me see. Okay, analog digital. So this is chapter 2. Okay, now input, device, and output. So this is for input for sensor. You see that there. This is going to be, I think, 2.10. Sit in 2.10. Okay. I think I've talked about every question and every chapter. So thank you very much. I want to talk about a very important YouTube channel called Ajiro Tech. Trust me, this YouTube channel is a giveaway. It's loaded with IGCSE ICT O level, AS, and A level. So trust me, is a giveaway. This channel is helpful for your group studies, your personal studies, and it has a proven track record of producing excellent results. So do me a favor, click on the subscribe button, okay, and share this YouTube channel with your friend. Trust me, that will be the best gift that you are giving to them. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.